that is tribal Dikus in the vision of golden age. Um, we have learned about the tribals, about the Dikus, and what do you mean by the golden vision of a golden age, and how the Britishers came and they forced their laws. And earlier they were the shifting cultivators, but by enforcing the laws by the British, what happened to the shifting cultivators? Because earlier most of them were the shifting cultivators. They used to burn the forest resource, tree tops of the tree, and then they spread the ash in the field, and then they, through the broadcast method, they spread the seeds. And after some time, they shift to the other area, and the same process they done. But after the coming of the British, after enforcing their laws, what happened? What happened to the shifting cultivators? If if we अगर हम अपना IQ लगाओ, then also it is very difficult to control the nomadic people. जो एक प्लेस से दूसरी जगह पे अगर मूव करते हैं तो एक तो हम उनके बारे में हम जान नहीं सकते. आज वो यहाँ, अगर हम 2 महीने बाद देखेंगे, they have shifted to other area. So it was the same problem was faced by the British. Due to the cultivators, the shifting cultivators, they constantly move from one place to another, and the British found it very difficult to control such cultivators. And secondly, for a regular source of revenue, they prefer the subtle cultivators, जो एक ही जगह रह के जब फार्मिंग कर रहा है, उसी लैंड पे फार्मिंग कर रहा है, तो उनको पता है कि रेगुलर हमें लैंड ये पे मिल जाएंगे. पर शिफ्टिंग कल्टिवेटर्स से, सपोज उन्होंने शिफ्टिंग कल्टिवेटर्स करा, जब रेवेन्यू लेने गए, they have switch on to the other area. So it was very difficult to control them. And the Britishers thought the shifting cultivators as barbaric or cruel. So they banned shifting cultivation. But again, the shifting cultivation बहुत ज़्यादा ट्रेडिशन में थी, बहुत ज़्यादा जो ट्राइबल्स थे वो शिफ्टिंग कल्टिवेशन करते थे. इसलिए the British effort to settle June cultivators was not very successful. क्यों? The problem, why it was not successful? Because the June cultivators, other name of shifting cultivators who took to flow cultivation. Flow cultivation मतलब जो saffron cultivation है. They face such troubles like might be the land which was given to the cultivators were not fertile. So widespread protests. Ultimately, the British had to allow them the right to carry on shifting cultivation in some parts of forest. After that, we will read about forest laws and their impact. Earlier, जो ट्राइबल्स थे फॉरेस्ट उन्हीं के थे. कोई भी इनकी जो फॉरेस्ट लैंड थे वो कम्युनिटी की थी, ट्राइब कम्युनिटीज की थी. बट व्हेन द ब्रिटिश केम, they found it that the forests are the rich resource, so they divided the forest under 3 categories: reserved forest, protected forest, and unclassed or common. Reserved forest name itself shows that it was the reserved forest. Only the tribals were not allowed to come in the reserved forest. Entry of tribals are restricted. Here in the protected forest, entry of tribals are permitted on certain condition. Means they were given some permit, and after the expiry of this permit they have to leave the protected forest. Common forest open for tribals. Second difference, these reserve forests are economically valued. These are less economy in value. And see, and why it is more economically valued? One type of plant species, different types, softwood, hardwood. So, in this way, the British classified the forest, and in the reserve forests produce timber which the British want. In these forests, people were not allowed to move freely, practice during cultivation, collect fruits, or hunt animals. But in the protected forest, the tribal people were allowed to come because in the protected forest, there was a shortage of forests in the protected forest because the labor has to cut the trees for railway sleepers and to transport logs. And not everybody can allow it in the forest because only the local peoples know the way. Because for the want of cheap labor or for the want of localized people who know the way of the forest, they were allowed to come in the protected forest. And it's not very easy for the travelers to obey all the forest laws. Many travel groups reacted against the colonial forest laws. They disobeyed the tribals, disobeyed the new rules, continued with illegal practices, means those practices which were declared illegal by the colonial people. And so there were some at times rose in open rebellion, such as the Songram, Sangma in 1906 in Assam, the Forest Satyagraha of the 1930 in the Central Province. The problem with trade. अब क्या हुआ? Traders हैं, money landers थे, they also come in the forest और उनको पता पड़ा कि tribals बहुत backward है, they were not very sharp minded, so they found opportunity to exploit the tribals and making a good fortune for themselves. And forest as a rich resource और उनको सारा टैक्स पता था, they were the user of the forest resource. For example, the traders and moneylanders, how they exploited. For example, the silk agents or the traders in Hazaribagh, that is in Bihar, gave loans to the Santhal tribals. भाई इनके पास ऐसा नहीं था कि ऑलरेडी अपना कोई बिजनेस स्टैब्लिश कर ले, तो वो उन्होंने लोन्स दिया। जो the tribals who reared cocoons and collected the cocoons from them, मतलब एजेंट्स ने हजारीबाग में वहाँ पर संथाल है, संथाल को लोन दिया कोकून्स के लिए एडवांस में कि ये लो आप रेयर करो। उसके बाद जो एक्चुअल प्रोड्यूसर थे, जो ग्रोअर्स थे, दे वर पेड वेरी लो अमाउंट, दैट इज ₹3 to ₹4 per 1,000 cocoons. कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, बट द सेम कोकून वर exported to बर्दवान और गया at 5 times the prices. मतलब ये traders ₹3 to ₹4 पर 1,000 कोकून्स खरीद रहे हैं और यही कोकून 5 times more, मतलब ₹15 का मार्जिन, मतलब आई मीन 5 टाइम्स का ज्यादा मार्जिन रख रहे हैं पर 1,000 cocoons पे. So how they exploit it? So the tribals, when they understood the game of the traders, moneylanders, landlords, they treated them as their enemies. The search for work. And many travels, क्योंकि अब माइंस एस्टैब्लिश हो गई थी, कोल माइंस है, टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्रीज है, so many travelers were far away from their homes in search of work, but their condition was even worse than those travelers. The travelers were recruited in large number to work in the tea plantation of Assam and the coal mines of Jharkhand, but they were paid very miserably low wages and prevented them from returning homes. They had to stay, मतलब 24 hours के एक तरह से बॉन्डेड लेबर की जैसे उनको काम किया जाता था, वेजेस बहुत कम थे, सारा कुछ उनका वही होता था खाना, बट they were treated very shabbily and the food was not given properly, and often they treated very badly. So such was the plight of the tribals. So again, there was rebelled against the changes in law, the restriction of their practices, the new taxes they had to pay, and the exploitation by money traders and moneylanders. So there was the famous rebellion by the tribals. For example, the Kols rebelled in 1831 to 32. Santhals rebelled in 1855. Bastar in central India in 1910, and the Wali revolt in Maharashtra in 1910. Okay, we will continue with the Birsa Munda in the next class.